Hi, this is Dr. Wilson, and I have just been reminded that some things have changed here on the Weebly website creation site. So I'm doing an updated video real quick to help you with the part that you need to do on your unit plan page this week. So I have logged into my Weebly site, which we used before. Remember when you did your treasure hunt or your subject sampler? And maybe you even have a page that says something about setting up your portfolio. If you go to the top part, do you see where I click on pages? It should show me on pages what pages I have already. So see on the left hand side, I have a professional portfolio, placeholder more or less. I have a treasure hunt or subject sampler page. So here's one that I just did for fun on football. And I'm going to go back over here on the left hand side to my main thing, and I'm going to add a page, and this time it's going to be a standard page, and I'm going to make it unit plan. Save the page. Now I'm going to have this new unit plan page, and actually I want to move it up so that it's right behind the treasure hunt. Whatever is on the top line is always your home page, but and so I like portfolio to be at the top, but these other two can be in any order that you want. Now I'm going to be on this unit plan page, and then I'm going to click on build, which gives me now all of the things, the tools that I need in order to build the site. This is my template that I have at this point. I can, of course, edit my image, and so I'm going to click that. Eventually, I would find an image that goes with my unit, but for right now, I can say edit image and add text. So I can add an image, but I don't have one right now. But what I want to do is add text to this page and click in there and say this is my technology rich unit plan on solar system. Okay. Now that provides text on the page. My picture would normally be behind it. I can make any changes I want to the text. But then when I choose to save it, I have options. I'm going to say save it to this page only. And so now that's sitting right there by itself. Now, of course, I'll add an image next time, but I'm not going to worry about that right this minute. Then what I need to do is begin to build this document. Oh, and one more thing. If you go to the setting, this little setting style, I'm going to make it a short header. So the picture I thought was a little too big, so now I've made it shorter. Now that I've done that, I may have to go back and add the title. What a bummer. This page only. Okay. So I'm back kind of where I started. Now, here's the important thing for you to know. As I begin to add things to my unit plan page, it's real important to notice some real subtle lines. So we're making our own table without a table making feature, more or less. So I have the title to this page. So down here is where I set up the layout. I'm going to first bring over the big giant title text. When I bring it in, I'm going to pull it into the choose layout, and notice the blue line goes all the way across. That's good. That means it's going to go all the way across the page. I'm going to click it. Then I click here to edit. And I can say, first thing I'm going to do is put the different subjects that I need to include. And if you recall, you need 2 subjects. So I'm going to pull over the title again so I can put the two subjects that I'm going to cover. And so when I click and drag this time, I want this title to go right next to subject. So look, the little blue line is on the right. Do you see the blue line on the right? That's when I drop and let go. What it does is it puts a box right next to it because that's where the blue line was. So I'm going to say this is going to be math, and then I'm going to do it again. Click and drag, far right. And now it's put it into thirds, right? And this is going to say science. Okay. Now, my next row that I want to do is objectives. Now, I like for things to go right all the way across. So I'm moving, do you see I keep moving this little box around until I get a line that goes all the way across. Drop it. Now I'm going to say objectives. OBJ. And teaks. And so then I'm going to bring this over. So over and see the blue line on the right in the bottom half. Let go. And I'll, oh, you know what? It's good that I did this. Since I'm going to have a lot of objective words and teak numbers, I'm going to X out of this, which means I'm going to delete it. Delete. And now I'm going to use my smaller text box and drag it over. Now, this little line in the middle, look, I can move things over. So I can line up with math if I want, and this becomes two lines. And here I'm going to say, these are the, in math, I'm going to say, in math, the student, the learner will. And then I can say, what are the different things, you know, identify, okay, so these are things we're going to do in math. Bring that text box over again on the right, up. Drops a new box. Oops, I'm going to move this over a little bit. That's too close, I think. But let's do my science box. So in science, and you'll put a couple of objectives in a second discipline. You don't have to have as many, but actually the reality is I probably in solar system unit have more in science than I have in math, but I do have some over here. So I'm going to scoot this over a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Looking good. Then you have to come over and do essential questions. Well, essential questions goes all the way across initially. What questions do you hope the students can answer by the end of the unit? And really, you only need a couple, maybe even one in one discipline and a couple in the other. Doesn't have to be too big. Then I bring my little text box over next to the side. In math, students can, will, and then you say, you know, mean, I'm just making things up, right? But I'm going to move this over. There we go. And then I'm going to drag the text box over again. Make sure it's on the far right. So now it'll give me a box for science. Okay. Now, the next section, so you kind of get a feel for what they're supposed to be able to do. Let me see if I can move this over at some point. Let's see. Can't quite get this to move over, so I'll have to play with that a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and drop my next title down underneath. This time it's going to say activities. So these are the activities that the students will do to demonstrate their learning in this topic. In this case, I often have activities over here on the left, but now I only have one column because quite often students will do math and science kind of at the same time, but still maybe only in the science class. So it makes sense to me to keep everything kind of in one column here in the middle. Here's my line again, so I'm going to move this over. Took it a while for it to kick in. So, for example, the first activity that probably you would have students do in your unit is to see your T's. So, number 1, students will watch the T's and answer the following question. And that would probably be whatever it is that you put as your final question. Now, here's a cool thing about this. I can scroll down over here on the left. Of course, anytime I want, I could bring in a picture if I wanted to and jazz up the page. I'm not as interested in that. I mean, that's fine, and it makes it look nice. You want to have all your resources on this one page. In this case, I would like to have a thumbnail kind of picture of the video that we could watch. And it's going to come from YouTube because that's where you put it. So I'm going to grab this YouTube media piece, bring it over here. But this time, listen, I only want it under the one part. Do you see how this line is just over the second half of that column? So I'm dropping YouTube in this side. Now, when I do that, let's see. I need to go to YouTube. Maybe I'll do a, I don't have this pegged. You'll find your T's, right? Let's just say that I'm going to use this. So I find it. I'm going to copy the link. Here it is. Go back over here on my Weebly site. If I click on this, a pop-up window opens right up here in the top. I'm going to paste, Control V, and click off of it. Now, here's my T's right here. Isn't that nice? And it'll play. Then you'll go ahead and add over here on the same right-hand side. Move it around. There you go. The other items that need to be in these activities. Remember, you need 4 activities. So I'm going to put number 2. Maybe they'll, oops, number 2. They're going to do complete treasure hunt. And then I'm going to link to the treasure hunt. So I highlight it. I click link. And it's a page I already have, a standard page. So I'm going to click standard page. And I'm going to go find my treasure hunt. There it is. Save. Then I'm going to go to number 3. They're also, oops, I don't want that to be a link. Number 3, they're also going to do the graphing assignment. And I can highlight that. This time when I click on link, I'm going to choose a file. And I go upload a file, which is your lesson plan for graphing. So I click on that, whatever it is, there it shows up. So let's just say, I don't know, let's say it's this one. I'm just picking a file. Save. That file will upload. Remember, you need also a 4th activity that you have designed that has students using technology. So maybe they're going to make a timeline using Timeliner X, and I'll put a link to that on the okay. So I've got my activities. Now this 4th thing that is student-centered, remember you have to create a rubric for assessment. So I'm going to bring down the big T again, all the way across. I'm going to call it assessment. So how will you assess them? Go to the right, move this over a little bit, and you will say rubric for assessing the timeline. And of course I will highlight this and go link the file. And the last thing you have to do is put all the way across, one more time, resources. And so remember, on your Delicious account, you have lots of resources probably that maybe some of you didn't use. And this is the place for you to add them to your lesson. So put links to your, so it could be, you know, some interactive games that you found. I mean, all kinds of things that you found when you were doing your Delicious that will be helpful. So hopefully this will help you complete your project on your unit plan. We hope to be able to get these all linked and turned in. So this is your week. If you have any questions, be sure to send me an email. Remember, click publish to save. And then the first line, this becomes the link to your page that you want to upload as you turn things in. So next week we'll talk about portfolio, but here's my unit plan right here. And now you can see the different things that we just set up and saved. Okay? Hope this helps. Have a great weekend and a lovely Thanksgiving. I'll be in touch.